Hi and welcome to Peridot Makeup. Today I have Fadak on the makeup chair. I'm very privileged to have her with me today. I'm not only going to do her makeup, but I'll also be talking to Fadak about her incredible journey. Fadak is an Iraqi Australian. She had to leave her home country by force because of the security situation there. And I'd like you all to hear her story and her incredible journey and the campaign that she's created, which is called Meet Fadak. Okay, so Fadak, tell us about who you are. Who is Fadak?
So I'm a community lawyer, and last year I started a storytelling tour. So I went around Australia to tell my personal story of coming to Australia as a refugee. Mm-hmm. So I went all around, most of Australia, in Victoria, New South Wales and Tasmania. And I met people from all over the region and talked to them about how I came to Australia, the challenges, the good things, and inspired people to be able to hear a refugee story and to see that we're all human, and refugees are a big part of Australia and a positive part to Australia, and that we should welcome everybody as we have been welcomed. And I often talk about how when I came to Australia in 2003, I was met with a positive attitude. I was welcomed by the community, and that's made me who I am today. It's made me strong. It gave me the confidence and the empowerment that I've got, and that we should be giving that to other people who come to Australia today. And I think a lot of us in Australia have a very similar experience. So not only refugees have to leave their homes behind, but a lot of people who have migrated to Australia have a very similar experience to what I've been through.
Yep. And
I oftentimes, throughout my speaking tour, I encourage people to reflect on their own journey and their own family's journey to Australia, however long ago that was, and just to think about the fabric of our country and how we all came from somewhere, unless we're Indigenous and have been here for thousands of years, but otherwise we all came to Australia somehow. Yeah. And that's what's happening now with refugees coming to Australia. It's not anything new or different, it's always been happening. So my family came to Australia in 2003 after the invasion of Iraq. So we got here in December. It was around Christmas time in Australia, and on New Year's. It was a very exciting time to get here. And we left because our home was partially destroyed, and we were worried that we would be affected as well. So we were lucky because we had my dad here in Australia already, so we were able to settle through him. And to come to Australia a lot easier than other families would have been able to.
That's true.
I was 11 years old when we got here, and I didn't speak any English. I didn't know anybody, didn't have any friends here, but we came to Australia actually hoping that we would be able to go back to Iraq once things got better, but the issue is that things in Iraq never got better, and in fact they got worse and worse, so we weren't able to go back. But it just meant that we're able to stay in Australia and make Australia home, which has been an amazing experience. And I do remember going through the initial parts of the invasion, going through nights of constant bombing and constant fighting. But I think in a way that not being able to understand it and comprehend the enormity of it, being a child and not really knowing how big it is and how bad it is, I think kind of kept me in ignorance about how bad the situation is, which I think is kind of good. But I remember when I got to Australia, and for several years, every time it it rains heavily and there's like thunder, I kind of jump at the sound of it because it's a very similar sound to a bombing sound.
Yeah.
And the feeling that it brings, like that shaky feeling. But it's been almost 16 years now, and I've been able to, call Australia home, to feel safe and to be surrounded by, family and those I love. And so I've been to various parts of Australia to tell my story through the Meet Fadak campaign. And the campaign is really what it's saying, like to meet Fadak, to meet me, to meet someone who has been a refugee, who has had to seek asylum, and to humanise the experience, and to get away from all the politics and the news and the facts and the dog whistling, and just to bring it back to what it is, which is that just a human experience, and to connect with people who who come to my talks, who just want to hear the story and connect with me on a human-to-human level. It's just been really powerful to see how I can use my story to create change, to motivate people, to inspire people, and to connect people who may have refugees settling in their community, who may have big migrant communities, but have been too afraid to meet them and speak with them.
Absolutely.
And just for me to offer that accessible story to listen to and journey to be a part of. So I met with a few politicians throughout the campaign, which has been easy but hard at the same time.
Yeah.
It's obviously very difficult to change policy and law and change how politicians think. It's an art form in itself, and it's a whole science that you have to figure out how to do. But I've been very fortunate to be able to meet with a lot of crossbenchers. I've been able to go to Canberra to speak to media and to meet politicians, and to be part of a nationwide campaign to get all children out of detention centres and into the community. We often hear all the negatives about refugees in the media, and about politicians opposing the refugee cause. But it's just been amazing to be part of a collective, and meeting these politicians who cared so much, and they were giving so much time, so much of their own personal time to the cause. For them to meet someone like me, I think they were really inspired.
Yeah.
And it's something like that is really good to offer a politician, because sometimes we think of politicians as like really rough people, and they don't have any feelings, and they just sort of go with whatever is working for them. But actually, to meet someone like me gave a lot of those politicians who were working tirelessly but were a little bit exhausted because nothing, only a little bit was changing.
Yeah.
But really inspired them to continue doing what they were doing. And to have someone like me speak to the media has been really powerful in creating a little bit of a shift. The only reason that I'm not in a detention centre like other children is that I did come 10 years later, and had my family waited, or had things happened, was I born 10 years later, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be talking to you, I wouldn't be doing the work I'm doing. I would also be in a detention centre like the other children are.
Yeah.
And when I talked about that, when I told that to the politicians I was meeting, it really created a big click, or like a big light bulb moment in their brain, because they were seeing me, they were meeting with me, and I was like this case study of how things worked out for the best rather than the worst, and that's how they are now. Technically I only launched this campaign about 7 months ago, and throughout that time I've done so much media. I've been on in newspapers, on TV, on radio countless times.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible.
I've done a TED Talk. I've travelled around the country. I've done lots of work with different media companies. So it's just been an amazing experience to have such a powerful and personal message to be received so well all across the country. I think coming into the space and wanting to tell my story in a way that hasn't really been done before has been a little bit hard, because for traditional media, for traditional advocacy, that's existing at the moment was a little bit difficult to have something so different. You know, to have someone of refugee background, you know, going out there and telling their story, someone who's so young, someone who's a woman. I think people are a little bit taken aback by it, and in a way, you know, maybe a little bit frightened by it, unsure how to support or how to be a part of it. Yeah. So that's been a little bit hard, just to sort of receive attention from those I expected to support me. Yeah. And from, you know, traditional media, like we have, you know, like the free-to-air TV, radio, that kind of thing. Yeah. To receive support from them has, you know, it has happened, but not to the extent that would have been really, really good to spread the word and to spread the story. Yeah. But on the other hand, you know, on social media, it's been really powerful to connect with so many people from all across the country, from different parts of the world. And I guess that's the alternative now, and that's where, you know, most young people are, and that's how I can reach an audience that traditional media can't usually reach. 2019, where I'm currently making a documentary, so telling my story via you know, several videos that people can engage with and listen to. So for all those who didn't get to meet me in person during my speaking tour, there'll be a chance for them to hear my story via the documentary. And guess who appears on the documentary? I am still doing speaking events, but less than last year. And I really hope that the story can spread all over Australia. You know, my aim was, and it still is, to meet every Australian so that they can hear my story and hear the real stories of Australia's refugees. So I still hope that I can do that, and maybe 5 years is the perfect opportunity. So I encourage your audience to spread the word if they're interested, to check out my social media, to come out to events if they can. So they can find me online at Meet Fadak. That's meet like meeting, and Fadak, Fadak.
This is the final look that I made on Fadak. I've also done her hair, which I'll show you pictures of later on. Thank you so much for coming into my studio, Fadak. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on my makeup set in my own home studio, and to also learn so much about your incredible journey and about yourself as a person. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video with Fadak, and please do show your support to the Meet Fadak campaign. All the details will be provided under this video.